Beneath the surface of the Middle East, a secret war has been brewing for decades. A war fought not just with guns and bombs, but through espionage, cyber attacks, and covert assassinations. This is the shadow war between Iran and Israel. Two nations locked in a deadly struggle that is now threatening to explode into a conflict of global proportions. To understand how we got here, we must travel back to 1948, the year Israel was born. Surprisingly, Iran was one of the first nations in the Middle East to recognize the Jewish state. Under the rule of the Shah, Iran and Israel were allies, trading weapons, intelligence, and economic deals. But all of that changed in 1979. The Iranian Revolution saw the overthrow of the pro-Western Shah and the rise of Ayatollah Khomeini, who declared Israel an enemy of Islam, a Zionist regime that must be destroyed. From that moment, Iran's foreign policy took a sharp turn, and the seeds of hatred were planted. Iran would now go to great lengths to challenge Israel's very existence. But instead of fighting Israel directly, Iran chose a different path, a shadow war. The Islamic Republic began funding and arming groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, and other militant organizations along Israel's borders. Their goal was simple: harass, weaken, and eventually destroy Israel without risking direct confrontation. By the 1980s, Hezbollah had become Israel's most dangerous enemy in Lebanon, launching rocket attacks and kidnapping Israeli soldiers. For Israel, this wasn't just a regional threat. This was an existential danger, one orchestrated by Iran from the shadows. And now, what was once fought in the shadows is erupting into full view. In Gaza, Hamas, backed by Iran, has been firing wave after wave of rockets into Israeli cities. Israel's Iron Dome system struggles to keep up, intercepting as many as it can, but the sheer volume of attacks is overwhelming. As Israel responds with devastating airstrikes, the cycle of violence continues. Yet this isn't just about Israel and Hamas. Behind every rocket fired from Gaza, behind every militant group in the region, stands Iran, fueling the flames of war in its broader quest to dominate the Middle East. And this is just one front of the conflict. To the north, Hezbollah is waiting for the right moment to strike. With thousands of rockets aimed at Israeli cities, any spark could set off a larger war. Meanwhile, in Syria, Israel conducts regular airstrikes against Iranian forces and weapons shipments, trying to contain Tehran's influence. But how long can this delicate balance last? The world watches with bated breath as this conflict teeters on the edge. Iran is not alone. It has powerful allies like Russia and China, while Israel's closest supporter, the United States, stands ready to intervene. But the involvement of these global superpowers carries terrifying implications. Could this regional conflict ignite something far worse? In today's volatile world, a single miscalculation, a single escalation could lead to a global conflict, a war that could involve nuclear powers, advanced militaries, and countless civilian lives. What starts in the Middle East may not stay in the Middle East. Wars like this have a habit of spiraling out of control. What do you think? Are we witnessing the opening moves of a much larger conflict, or can diplomacy still pull us back from the brink? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories of global intrigue and hidden battles that shape our world.